Good afternoon,
Hello.
friends. Look who's here. It's not just me today. It's me and Jeremy.
Yes.
Okay, you know...
Oh, by the way, if the doorbell goes, I am getting it because it's the delivery of my first paperback copy.
We're still waiting
We're
for
still waiting
ours.
for it, and it's going to be delivered sometime between now and the next hour and a quarter. So if it goes, I'm unboxing it live.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, it should be fun.
So I was thinking, I'm almost out of shot, that, you know, we are living in a tricky time at the moment, and I think it's impacting on a lot of us in terms of what we're normally expecting to be doing with our lives. And Jeremy, it made me think of the time, you know, when I was doing my PhD and I was writing it up. Jeremy got very, very bored, everybody, because suddenly I wasn't there for him to interact with in creating new ideas.
I started knitting again.
He did. He started knitting again, which is wonderful. And if you ever come on any of our retreats, you'll see not only the customised slippers that people can wear in the house, but also some gorgeous blankets that Jeremy knitted. Anyway, I digress. But what we came up with in that time, and this is about being creative in unusual circumstances, what we came up with was webinars. This was a way that we could still interact with the people we wanted to work with while I was spending the majority of my time writing up my doctorate. And from that came the 18 webinars, 18 training webinars that we have. So I just want people to know that there are nearly always solutions, even when you're finding you can't work in the way that you normally work. And I've just been so impressed by how people have been sharing hacks on social media about how to work with choirs, how to work with ensembles, helping each other in learning how to do online sessions. Okay, so on to Jeremy's book, because first of all it's reached number one in which category?
Number one in, number one in Broadway and musicals in the US, which is brilliant, and number one in voice and singing. And what's fascinating is I was expecting the ebook version to reach number one first, if it ever did, and it's the paperback that's gone straight in.
You wanted the paperback. Isn't it nice that even in this digital age, what people want is to have the book in their hands?
I know, I tweeted, I think it was yesterday, there is nothing like actually opening up a parcel and seeing your book for the first time and holding it in your hands. There is nothing like it. And we've done it a few times now, so I'm really looking forward to the parcel arriving today.
What's the betting? The first thing you spot is an error.
Oh, absolutely, it's what I do.
Nature of the beast.
Yeah.
Okay, so I promised Jeremy that I would do a little interview with him, and the first thing I wanted to ask you, because when we first met you were very much coming from the collaborative pianist background, but you'd also been working with singers for quite a long time. How did you know you had a book in you?
It's a really good question. I didn't, but needs must, necessity, I started to write articles for websites. And interestingly, I went back to my old postgrad diploma essay, which was all about classical music and the use of the piano in Lieder, with particular reference to Schumann's Frauenliebe und Leben. And it was quite good, but it's not a brilliant bit of writing. And it was actually doing 300 articles for a particular opera website that really got me into discovering that I could write, that I could do things that were succinct, that they were to the point. So it was that, really. And then starting the blog. And the blog started maybe 14 years ago, something like that.
And your blogs have actually been very popular. I mean, although people probably think of me as being the author in the household, and Jeremy will talk in a minute about how many books he's written as well. Although you might think like that, in fact, Jeremy is much more prolific at article writing. And your blogs have been super popular, haven't they?
They're fun. So they're getting a little more personal now. As I'm getting into my old age and don't care.
And he doesn't care, yes. Well, funnily enough, Jeremy, although occasionally I read a version of Jeremy's rants and I go, oh my God, you can't say that. But apparently people really appreciate that somebody does say that.
It's so funny, one of the most popular articles we have is Jeremy's first rant, no, belting does not begin on the A below middle C. Okay, can I just say why I wrote that? Because I was so annoyed.
Do you know, this is going back to the idea of creativity. Those of you who are teaching or maybe who are running choirs and things, there's going to be so many experiences that you have that you could write about that actually people want to hear, people want to share.
Yeah.
So before you talk to us about the process of writing this particular book,
Yep.
Go on, hit me with the figures. How many books have you actually written? Hello, CJ, nice to see you.
I think it's 6 or 7. And that's not counting the Recorder Magic book that I did years ago, actually writing the piano parts for. You and I wrote Successful Singing Auditions in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Singing Express Books 3 and 4.
One of them up there.
Yeah. Gillyanne had done books 1 and 2, and then I joined to do 3 and 4. This is a Voice, which was 2016.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Hello, Grace. Lovely to see you. CJ, I hope you enjoy the replay. Remember to press #replay if you watch and comment.
Yeah. How to Sing Legato. That was another really interesting one to write because I wanted to basically get through the bullshit, get through the myths, and go, look, singing legato is actually really straightforward. If you know what it is that you're supposed to be doing, you just do it, and lo, legato happens. Then I did How to Accompany Your Students Even If You're Rubbish at the Piano with Anne Leatherland, and then this is number 7. Which is Why Do I Need a Vocal Coach? Stories, tips and hacks from the studio of a voice expert.
So, I know, and perhaps not everybody here knows, I know that he's a fast worker, everybody.
Yes.
From start to finish, when you first conceived the idea and said, I think I've got a book here. How long has the whole process taken?
Okay, from start of idea to the end of the first draft, 3 days.
No.
3 days. Yeah.
You sure you're not exaggerating?
No, 3 days. What was so fascinating is that what happened was that we were redoing the website, or we are redoing the website in the background, and I was looking at all of the things and taking bits off. And
we just had a love button from Oren.
Thank you.
Obi-Wan Theatre, everybody.
Lovely. And I found an old link. I used to syndicate my blogs all around the world, and I'd forgotten that I'd done that. And I found an old link to the blog syndication, and went on the syndication website and discovered 6 years of my blogs from 2009 to 2015, and started reading them and thought, oh, these are rather good. And then suddenly the idea literally just dropped into my head, write a book.
So it's a backlog of stuff, and this is the thing, obviously we've been working for about
23 years?
24 years,
24
probably,
years.
something like that. And I've been teaching for 40 years, and sometimes you don't realise what's in the attic, people.
Yes.
And it's true that once you start to dig that out, oh, Lorna, hi, I hope you're doing well. Once you start to find out what's in that attic, it's amazing how much wisdom that you have to share. Okay, so that was sort of start to finish writing, but what about...
No, that was start to finish writing the first draft.
What about the whole process?
The whole process is about 3 months. It's taken much longer, once you've got the first draft out, to actually refine it and change it, I think it's about 3 months.
Hello, Jessa.
And in fact, I sent it out to several readers for me just to get an outside eye on. We had some amazing comments back, so a lot of what people were suggesting was then put into the version that you're seeing now. Which is really good.
You had some fabulous feedback. Jessa, I know you gave us feedback. There were some people from Michelle's Seco group who gave fantastic feedback to us.
Yep.
You got anyone else leap to mind? Claire Chandler gave very nice feedback.
She did. Connor
Sophie
Tomkinson,
Scott.
Sophie Scott. Sophie was the first one to get back to me, and it was so useful, everything that she said. So that's really nice. And in fact, you'll see when you get your copy either of the ebook or of the paperback, you'll see that I have testimonials in the front, and a lot of the comments that people were saying are in the front of the book. It was so nice to see. People are saying, I'm loving this book. It's so interesting. And that's so lovely for me, frankly. Because it's exactly like I said in my last tweet, like it says in the song, this is me. This is in fact the book that is the closest to what I do. And it's always been so difficult to describe what I do in coaching sessions because I cover a wide range of things. And it's quite difficult to pin down how I help people change what they do.
Yes. I just want to say hello to Anupa. Anupa,
hey.
Where are you checking in from? Are you in India? Thank you. Thank you for the congratulations. Okay, so now that you've got onto the subject of describing what it is that you do.
Yep.
I'm a singing teacher.
Yes.
Everybody knows me as a singing teacher and a technician and a pedagogue. Whatever that means, not a pedant, someone who's special, not in any way, shape or form.
You're a heutagogue.
I'm a heutagogue, yes, very much so.
Check the article.
I love to share my knowledge with other teachers as well, as you know. But you're a vocal coach, and you do stuff that I don't.
Yes.
Now, how can you tell people what it is that a vocal coach does?
It was actually one of the reasons why I wanted to get the book out, and particularly under that title, because even singing teachers don't necessarily know what a vocal coach does. And a good vocal coach will be able to do stuff that a singing teacher doesn't know about. One of the things that I do is take the performance as a whole rather than the voice as an instrument. And by osmosis, by design, by whatever, by questioning, whatever, take what I hear and sense that person can do and where their strengths lie, and get that person into the song and into their performance. And I think that's the best way I can describe it, is matching the song and the performer to the performance.
I think we had a few wows there. Might have had an angry face.
We had a shock face.
Yes, that could have been a singing teacher saying, "I do understand that." And to be fair, I think singing teachers who are very engaged in performance probably look at coaching singers in a different way from someone who's more of a technician, as I am. Aliki, very nice to see you. Actually, Jeremy's my secret weapon. Those of you who've worked with me, and then I've sometimes said, listen, you need to go and have some sessions with Jeremy. And what sometimes happens is that my clients will go to Jeremy and they go, "Oh God, that was so amazing, and we did this, this and this." And I'm sure this happens to all of us as trainers, that we did this, this and this, and Jeremy will say, "Oh, it was so interesting when I worked with so-and-so, and I did this," and I think, I've done that with them. Well, and you know how it is when somebody
better
presents something. It's a good thing we've been married for a long time. It's when somebody presents something from a different angle that you get it in a different way.
Sure.
So that's what makes Jeremy my secret weapon. But tell me more about how you work and how you developed the way you work. Because sometimes I've got to be honest and say, I'm perhaps in a masterclass with Jeremy and we're doing a joint coaching session, and he'll come in from what seems like absolutely far out in the left field and do something that I hadn't thought of, and that he senses quite rightly that I'm wanting to, the place where I'm wanting to go, and his method will cut straight to it. So
how do you do it?
Yeah, how do you do it?
Okay, that's the next book. I'm listening, sensing all sorts of things when people are singing. And it does actually help for me to play as well, because I'm also sensing through what I'm playing what other people are doing, although it's becoming less and less necessary now, so that I can just sit and listen and absorb. I am sensing where people want to go, where the singer themselves wants to go, what they want to do, what they want to achieve. And I can, most of the time I can sense what's about to happen. I think it's a skill as a collaborative pianist. You have to know what's going to happen before it happens, so that you are also there. So there's a skill that's also been honed by years of working with other people. I'm also listening for style features. So I've got a big catalogue of music styles, and I mean, you know, okay, one of our specialist fields is musical theatre, but then that encompasses so many different styles. And I worked for years as an opera repetiteur, so I have a lot of classical stuff in my catalogue as well. And I'm listening to, if you like, the ideal catalogue version of a song or an aria, and going, where is that, basically, what's working and what isn't? And I'm not always listening for how isn't it working, I'm actually listening for how is it working, and can we do anything to make it stronger, or can we change what's going on?
Yeah, as soon as you said, I'm not necessarily listening for what's not working,
No.
You're listening for how it could work, aren't you?
Yes.
And there's something about, I think, the way that you understand music and how music works and how music works in performance. And I'm going to go really woo-woo in a few minutes and ask you some questions about
great.
performance.
I love that.
There's something about that I think you can bring to a singer.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what that singer's background is, does it? It doesn't matter what music they're singing.
No.
There's something that Jeremy's understanding of how the music works that seems to bring the song to life through that singer. So now...
With three things. It's understanding how the music works, understanding how the singer works and what their personality is and what their strengths are, and what their musical strengths are as well, and understanding how the song works and what the song envelope is. And I talk about this a lot, not so much in the book, I've talked about it in articles. Every song, as far as I'm concerned, has an envelope in which you sing, and that envelope is really quite stretchy. You can push it out in all sorts of directions, and then there is a point at which it gets too big or too out of shape and you don't recognise the song anymore. And either you then come back more into the style, or you just change the style completely. You put the whole song in a different envelope, and that also works. But there are some conscious decisions that sometimes you need to make, and I help people make them, to say, do you really want that version, or do you want this version that I hear you heading for but not quite achieving?
Okay, now talk to us about what the singer energy and the singer persona brings to the song, because I think this is something you're very skilled at.
It's really interesting, you know, I've worked a lot with actors who say, I can play anything, and all actors in general believe that they can play any emotion, any style, any role, any this, that and the other, and I'm going, no, sorry, you can't. What happens, and I've seen it time and time again because I've played for so many auditions, is that somebody will sing a song, somebody will bring a piece of music into the audition and sing it, and it'll be good, it'll be well honed, it will be rounded, it will be detailed, it will be all of that stuff, but ultimately their personality is too far away from the song's shape, personality, the character, energy. Then the next person who walks in is an absolute match for that song, that energy, that personality, that type, and it doesn't matter how good the previous person was. That person just wipes the floor with them. The first person is forgotten because they've nailed the song. And there are variations on this, but one of the things I love doing is helping singers find what their specialist areas are, and we work out from there.
So there's something here about your years and years of playing as an audition pianist that's really informed your skill of what works and what works for that singer.
Yeah.
Because I know you've talked to me about this, that one of the reasons why you gave up being an audition pianist was that, you know, you do a whole day, and I don't know how many people
40 or 50
40 or 50 you'd see in a day. And whereas we've got to be honest, folks, most pianists they'll simply play in the same way by and large, particularly if it's the same song they've got to do over and over again. How many times was it Castle in a Cloud?
40, I think. 40 of the same song.
Yeah, okay. But he doesn't play it in the same way because he's paying attention to the energy of the singer and what the singer brings to the song.
The whole point is that I'm duetting with a stranger and they are duetting with a stranger with me. And the thing about duetting with a stranger is that you both bring your skills, you both bring your energy, you both bring your abilities and history. Your whole history comes with you when you perform a song. And if you are a collaborative pianist, one of the things that you are really by default wanting to do is to collaborate with the person who is in front of you, and so you're co-creating a performance. I think the real skill of an audition pianist is to co-create a performance with somebody that they've never met and never worked with, and so you are picking up cues really, really fast as it happens. And I think that's where part of the skill of going, I understand what your energy is, I understand what your skills are. I think that is part of the if you like, it's part of the technique of going, now I know what your skills are, now I know what your strengths are, and by the way, I have a big catalogue of songs in my head. That song will suit you brilliantly. Or the song that you're working with right now is okay for you, but if we change the subtext and we change the character and we change the energy of what you're doing with it, it will work far better for you.
Okay, so I don't want to disappoint Jessa because she's really looking forward to you going woo-woo.
Yeah, let's do the woo-woo.
What about that performer, energy, audience thing?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah? Do you know where I want you to go?
I think so. I don't know, but I'm going to go there anyway.
Well, you've always said to me that
the audience is the third part of the equation, or fourth part of the equation, absolutely. And the interesting thing is, when you do hundreds of performances, you know that the audience is a beast that brings its own characterizations, its own energy with it. And as a performer, you either go with it or you don't. And there are places for both. You can ignore that energy completely and give exactly the same performance with you, and that works because you know exactly how your performance works. It's a bit like putting a sheet of glass between you and the audience. I think there's something that you're missing out on slightly, but it can work. And the other option is to just put the tentacles out and feel the audience. That's a very weird...
That's the woo-woo bit.
That's a very weird one. I always said for years that I was a bundle of nerve endings on stalks because of my ability to put my feelers out into the audience and go, who are you today? What animal am I working with today? And you can make that part of your performance. And I think it really means that every performance you do is live. So
the audience is a kind of beast in itself.
Oh, absolutely.
And you don't want to fight that beast.
No.
I mean, actors talk about smelling the audience, don't they?
Oh, I totally get that.
Probably literally, for all we know.
Totally get that.
Yeah, oh, Sally, thank you very much for the congratulations. Yeah, the whole thing about individual takes on songs and bringing it to life for the individual as well as for that specific audience. It's those decades of touring opera, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about the touring opera, because that's
yes,
that's a really big deal.
Toured for years, doing one-nighters. 20 years doing one-nighters.
That's how you learn to put the feelers out into the audience, isn't it?
Totally.
Really? Okay.
And the thing is that when the audience is 2 feet away from you and you really can see the whites of their eyes, even on the back row, you really get a feel for what the audience are.
Do you frighten them that much?
Yeah. Yeah, they're like... you really can get a feel for what the audience likes, what they're enjoying, what they're not sure about, what sort of day they've had, had, as a group entity. So we can do the same program. In fact, we never did do the same program, but we can do the same program in 3 or 4 different venues on 3 or 4 consecutive nights, and it will be completely different.
It's not going to be the same.
And in fact, with the opera company Hatstand that I worked with, we used to change the program. We'd go out, we'd do the first set, and then behind the scenes, the girls would be going, okay, this audience is a little tough today. Let's just swap the program round so that we do this, and then we do that, and then we'll bring that in. And there was one memorable concert, I still remember it, where I'm always out there playing, so I'm on stage all the time. And after about 3 numbers, it was not going well. And the girls just brought out 2 large folders and said, we're changing the program completely, we're doing this. And I'm going, okay. Yeah, I know the repertoire well enough that they can stick anything in front of me and I'll do it. And it was a huge success, simply because they'd already read the audience, I'd read the audience, and went, right, we have to change everything that we're doing.
Kirsty Young and Tony Nunn, I hope you're listening.
Yay! Kirsty,
hello,
Tony.
Inez. Hello, lovely to see you. So I'm now going to move back to sort of the logistics.
Yeah.
How difficult was it to, what's the process of preparing a Kindle book?
Oh, yeah, fun and not fun. The first thing you do is basically you get it all down on a Word document and you do your best to sort it out. And what I found was, because the book was so long, I think it's 70,000 words, it was so long that I couldn't see everything that was in it, and so I didn't know what order to do everything in. So I did a contents page. There's an automated contents page that you can do. You just put in insert contents.
Is it a particular program, or are you just using MS
Word?
In our case, MS
Word.
Word.
Yeah,
okay, right.
yeah, and you just go insert and do contents, or review, I think it is, in contents. And what that meant was that I'd already put every article that I'd got, I'd done the titles of the article in heading 1. So the contents page just brought up all the heading 1s, and I could see everything in order. And then go, okay, well, that would group with that, and this would group with this, and then you start moving things around. But funnily enough, it's only when you send it out to other readers that you really get an idea of what works and what doesn't. Because Marlena Maynard, thank you, Marlena, did a wonderful job giving me detailed notes on what worked and what didn't, and had some great ideas about the last 2 chapters in the book, which was originally 1 chapter called Things That Don't Fit. And she emailed back and she said they do fit, but they fit in slightly different ways. And so one was my life and experiences that I had personally, and the other was what they don't teach you at college, essentially. So those final 2 chapters were originally 1, and I've added stuff and shifted them all around. And in fact, the people who, all the readers who read the book before it got published, the book has actually changed. Not substantially, but a lot of things have changed order and they've been grouped differently, and I've written new stuff for them just to make it all work.
So it's important to get feedback.
Yeah,
incredibly
hugely.
Important. Yes.
And it's something that I have been very cagey about for years, because you've written something that is very personal.
You put yourself on a line.
And in this book, more than anything else, this is really personal. And so you don't know how people are going to respond or what they're going to say. I thought it was well written, I thought it was good content, but I didn't know. So yeah, you have to send it out because you have no idea. Ultimately, you're so in the material that you don't really know the big shape and how people are going to respond to it.
It's a performance without the audience.
Yes, and you don't get the applause at all, actually.
Yeah, you will. You will get your applause.
Hopefully. So you do the Word document, and then you give it to my brother, who is a professional desk editor.
Yeah, so ideally you either need to have done some training in editing yourself.
I would still give it to an editor.
Yeah, well, we're very fortunate because my brother-in-law is a crack.
He's really good.
Professional editor, and he's super picky, isn't he? super picky.
We were arguing up to 3 days ago, yeah. About little things that needed to be done. And then we go backwards and forwards on that, just deciding things like headings and titles and shape and grammar and where photographs need to go and all sorts of things like that. And then you, this time, I did the paperback version first, which I'd never done before. I've never done a paperback on Amazon, but they've changed their thing relatively recently. And in fact, I found the paperback easier to do. And then we took the paperback version and turned it into a Kindle, which is much harder to format. So that's where I said to my brother, over to you, you're doing the Kindle, I'll do the paperback.
It's quite a headache doing the formatting for the Kindle, isn't it? Yeah.
So, yes, and there is one other thing that I am going to do, which I haven't told anybody yet, which is I'm going to do the audiobook.
Yes, he is.
So pleased, so excited by this.
He's been building a studio. We were hoping that you were going to be able to see the studio today, but we couldn't quite make that work.
Yeah. So I have built myself a little, it's not soundproofed, but it's sound deadening. Studio, I think it's something like 7 foot by 4, which I'm going to be recording the audiobook in, and I am so excited by that.
Who needs this book? I mean, what sort of people do you think are going to benefit from it?
I'll tell you who will, and it's a funny one because I can see I've already had a few people unsubscribe, and it's interesting to see who has unsubscribed from our mailing list, and a lot of them are vocal coaches, and you just go, okay, oh, that's very interesting. I think the people that will benefit from it are, in fact, vocal coaches, because they see, it's very rare that a vocal coach will actually talk about what they're doing in the level of detail that I'm talking, so that they can do it themselves, actually. Singing teachers, I think, would love it, because they will get a different take on how to teach, on music, on how it works, on the whole performing thing. And I do some vocal technique stuff because it's another area that I know about. I don't do vocal technique in the way that Gillyanne does, but I do it. And singers, singers will actually love this because there are 40 lessons that I'm describing. And there's something like 200 songs in it. I mean, I know straight away there's 2 lists of 60 songs each for men and women on Crossing the Fourth Wall, the house number. And funnily enough, somebody said, it was Jessa actually, said in her response to the book that she thought people who are really interested in theatre and in behind the scenes and the whole training aspect of theatre, even if they're not singers themselves or they're not actors themselves, I think would be really interested, because I really do lift the lid on vocal coaching and training sessions.
Well, it's going to give members of the public who are interested in vocal music an insight into what a performer has to do and what comprises a performance, rather than what we see on The Voice.
Yes.
Because we don't really see what goes on there.
Yes. We know because we've been there.
Okay, so my last question for you, because I can see we're already over 30 minutes and our social media manager is going to be very cross with us. Yes, all the new info is... Yeah, absolutely. It is
Sally has
valuable.
just said ignoring the new info seems daft. It absolutely is, but if people are challenged by it, there's nothing I can do.
Who knows? What advice would you have to someone who thinks they've got a book in them?
Yeah. Right. It's corny as hell, but right. Sit and write. Because the act of writing a book, it doesn't matter what it is. Actually, interestingly, I think whether it's a factual book or a technique book or a training book or a fiction book, I think they're pretty similar in that you have to put out 50 to 100,000 words. You don't have to. I mean, I've got a 45-page book, which is 48 pages, I think, is How to Sing Legato. But that took me 7 years to do, because I kept going, well, I can't quite release it. Well, it's not quite right.
Well, that took you 7 years to get off the pot.
How very dare you. She's quite right. She's quite right. Yeah, sit and write. And the interesting thing is, I think the idea of sitting and writing a book is way too big.
You don't want to do it all in one go. That's what I was
not.
going to say. That if you're a blogger or you write articles, you've probably got a book in you already.
You've got to remember that I already had 500 articles to choose from. So I was already a prolific article writer. I think that there's 2 ways of doing it. One is just to sit and write. And people say, certainly about fiction or about doing a technique or a training book, you write about what you know. And it's almost taken me until this long, and I'm 57 now, it's almost taken me until this long to go, I'm really going to write what I know. I'm really going to write and just share it and put it down and give it out, because this is what I do. And I think there's a level of, you have to have a level of confidence to go, this is what I do, and if people like it, fantastic. If they don't, it's still a really good book and I'm still really proud of it.
You've got to have there's that moment where you say, this is me.
Yeah. Well, then this is the other interesting thing. It's like I said earlier on, I am getting more this is me now. Because in a way I have less to lose. You know, we are already number one best-selling authors. So it's like, if you like it, great. If you don't, buy another one or go somewhere else.
Well, as you've unsubscribed, then that's good. Because you've done us a favour. No, it's true.
Yes, it is.
You've made a choice, and that's the right choice for you.
So going back, why would people write? How are you going about it? There's two ways, as far as I'm concerned. One is that you write your a list of chapter contents. What is it that you want to write about? Can you get a chapter contents list? And if you can get that, immediately you know that chapter is going to be about this topic and that chapter is going to be about this aspect. And it's a really great place to start because you get the overview. Now that overview is going to change as soon as you start writing, that's fine. Or the other version is to micro, which is to go down to one topic and go, I'm going to write about this. And what you might find as you write about it is that other things will come out of what you're saying. The blank page thing is horrible.
It's terrifying.
You sit in front of a blank page and you just go, I have no idea what I'm going to do today. But a lot of what I'm doing now, because of the sort of person I am, it has to be a lot of the webinars that we did, the DVDs that we did, the app that we did, a lot of the books that we do are really because I wanted something very strongly to get out there. Often, certainly with the webinars, they are because I'd heard such bullshit out there and I wanted, I don't know if you can see this, I am wearing, can you see that? It's the Vocal Process Bullshitometer badge.
It doesn't come out very often.
No.
It's hidden normally.
And we actually do have them, and I am considering releasing them for the general public. But you'll see a picture of it almost on the last page of the book, which is always have your Bullshitometer badge on full. There was just topics that I thought, this is rubbish. People are putting such rubbish out there, and I really want to help other people understand, first of all, what the rubbish is, and also what to do about it and how to make whatever it is work.
It's about clarification. You're very much a clarifier.
I am a clarifier.
Aren't you? Yes. Good. I think we should stop now because we've almost reached 40 minutes and that is not going to go on IGTV. I think it will have to be in two sections. Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Stay well, stay positive. And hey, you're going to be able to sit down with a cup of tea and cake and get your copy of the book and read it. And we look forward to seeing what you think of it. Please do put your feedback and comments, not only on what you've seen today, but also your experience of reading the book. And over and out for now.
Bye.
Bye.